It is far too hot to cook, so I want to share with you some of the things that I am eating when it is really hot outside and I just don't want to turn my oven on. I started off with some summer rolls because these have been all over my Instagram page, and I thought that these would be a perfect no bake, no cook, pull together recipe for a lunch or a dinner. I also went as far as buying some baked tofu that had already been marinated, so I didn't even need to turn my oven on or use the air fryer either. The only thing that required cooking was actually some noodles, but I had some left over in the fridge. So I used the marinade from a rainbow plant life recipe just to add some extra flavor to the noodles before they went in the wrap. This was just really simple: lime juice, soy sauce, a bit of agave I think, sesame seeds and sesame oil. I always find the summer rolls pretty hard to wrap up, so I did end up eating one kind of in a bowl, but I just had these with a peanut sauce and they were so good. I also stored the rest in the fridge because I had a few left over, and I was really surprised when I ate these the next day that they hadn't gone kind of hard and horrible. To the wrap I just added some veggies, fresh coriander, baked tofu and the noodles. I like red cabbage and red pepper, but you can put any crunchy things in you like. I don't know if any of you remember, but banana ice cream was a really big thing, maybe like 6 years ago, maybe even just a little bit before that, but especially if you were really part of the kind of vegan community 6-7 years ago, banana ice cream was like massive. So I thought I would hark back to my London vegan days where I would go to, there was a actual shop that was specifically dedicated, I think it might have even just been a pop-up, to banana ice cream. But when you freeze bananas and blend them, they do create a really lovely texture. So I was able to find some spotty bananas. I'm going to freeze these, and then tomorrow I'm going to make some banana and mango ice cream. I guess it's more of like a sorbet, I think, but I feel like that would just be absolutely perfect for this hot weather. This is also good if your bananas are just getting too ripe to just put them in the freezer and use them at a later date. Mangoes are in season right now, so this is one of my favorite times to chop up a whole bunch of them and freeze them so I can have them when they're not in season as well. Okay, I'm gonna freeze these overnight, and then these are gonna go in my compost. I still use vermicompost. It works really well. Highly recommend if you're looking to compost your food and reuse it in the garden. I started eating muesli with fruit because of my high fiber video, and this is the perfect breakfast for me to have at this time of the year because it requires absolutely zero cooking. I also like making my own cold brew at this time of year as well. I'm never really good about figuring out the ratios for the water and the coffee grounds, so I kind of just wing it and try to leave it in there for at least 24 hours, and I kind of shake it up maybe every, I don't know, whenever I can be bothered to remember, to be honest, but it always tastes so good. I also wanted to try something new, so I decided to look up a recipe for breakfast that was a savory no cook recipe, and I found an edamame avos crushed thing that goes on toast, of course by Rainbow Plant Life, one of my favorite recipe creators. And then I made some quick red onion pickles for on top. I quite liked this recipe. It was very savory and it tasted pretty nice. If you're looking for an alternative, you don't want a sweet breakfast or you want a no cook breakfast, then I would give it a try. Obviously only if you like edamame flavor because it is very strong. I really liked this. I definitely feel like you could alter the recipe depending on what you have available to you. I think broad beans could be quite good in this. What else? Definitely peas could be quite good in something like this. You might want to alter some of the flavors though and not have like sesame oil if you're going to do something else like a bean or broad bean, because other beans and peas are also pretty high in protein if that's what you're going for with this recipe. We have some left over, so I can have that tomorrow. Whilst it's been hot, I've also been drinking a lot of water with ice and lime. I am typically someone who's very bad at drinking water, so by adding a bit of ice and lime, honestly, it just makes it feel special. So it helps me to drink more. So once I put this away, I'm gonna put together myself a little ice beverage. Sometimes it makes me feel like an actual child when I have to make things more interesting just to get myself to drink water. But then I also remind myself that actually I'm just making something a little bit more fun, and I'm making life a bit more fun because drinking water can be really boring. Anyway, we were heading to Michigan the next day, so I wanted to use up some of the ingredients that we already had in the house that really needed eating. So I made a mango salsa and a guacamole. We had quite a few mangoes left over from a chia pudding that I had made, which was so good. And I had quite a few tomatoes left over as well that really needed eating. I did specifically buy some tortilla chips for this, and I'm always surprised, pleasantly of course, when I add something like mango to a salsa, and I just forget that that's possible. I just forget that it's an option to do that. that, because whenever I make salsa normally I just make a very standard one, but adding some mango just adds such a nice sweetness to it. And if you get your tomatoes when they're nice and ripe, they should also taste quite sweet. Now when it comes to snacks, when it's really hot, I do tend to just have veggies or some pita bread with hummus. This works for me really well because it's filling. I also don't have to cook anything, and honestly hummus is just life. I love hummus. Hummus is the best, especially when you try lots of different flavors. This one was a caramelized onion one, which I hadn't had before, and I thought it was excellent, though the standard will always be my favorite. In the morning I made my cold brew. It wasn't as flavorful as I would have hoped, but it was definitely pretty good and incredibly refreshing while it was still cool in the morning. I do wish this coffee was just a little bit stronger, but it definitely tastes really good. We're actually just about to head to Michigan, so I thought I would bring you with us so you can see kind of what I'm eating when it's too hot to cook, because it's also very hot there as well. So we're gonna enjoy this and then we're gonna get going. Good morning and welcome to Michigan. I've been here for a few days to see my husband's family, and it has been so hot, but ironically today is the first cool day where it has been raining quite a bit. So I'm gonna make something probably like a pesto pasta salad or something for lunch with some local greens. Michigan is a really great place for certain types of ingredients that are grown locally, like asparagus, cherries, strawberries. I'm going to go to a farm stand later and get some strawberries, but I'm always interested whenever I travel somewhere new just how expensive things are, or if they're cheaper than where I live in terms of groceries. And definitely in northern Michigan I would say it's not that much cheaper, but you are buying pretty high quality fruit and veg that is grown, as I said, locally. So whenever I travel I do like to take advantage of free things like Upside, the app, who are kindly sponsoring this portion of today's video. I've mentioned Upside before. They help you to get cash back on things like groceries and gas, which are things that we're paying for anyway. So even if we're trying to live on a budget, these are things that are just kind of everyday necessities. So it's nice to be able to get some cash back for those kinds of things. For me, getting cash back on gas has been particularly helpful, especially in the summer months where we are traveling further and going to explore a lot more, especially of the state of Colorado. So basically what you do is you download the Upside app, you open the app, and then you claim your offer. You pay with your card just like normal, and then you get paid. And that's it. And honestly, when it comes to gas and groceries, every little helps right now. And yes, it's cash back, not points. So it's money that gets transferred right to your bank account. Upside has given back $1 billion to its users. So to find out how much you can earn, download the free Upside app and use promo code Immy in all caps to get an extra 25 cents back on every gallon on your first tank of petrol or gas. That's an extra 25 cents back on every gallon for your first tank of gas using promo code Immy. And the app is free, so there's absolutely nothing to lose by checking them out. Okay, I'm gonna make a pesto pasta salad with some local greens, as I said, and then I'm gonna get some strawberries and have some local strawberries as a snack, because I would say that Michigan strawberries definitely rival British strawberries, and that's a big thing to say. Ironically, there were neither strawberries nor asparagus at the farmer's market. They had definitely sold out, but they did have a lot of sweet cherries and some raspberries, so I got some of those to have. I'm not usually a cherry person, but these cherries are so good. Northern Michigan, or Michigan in general, I think is known as like the cherry capital, and for good reason. When I got back, I just had some fruit. I do tend to eat a lot of fruit as well in the summer because it's a nice snack that can be chilled or doesn't have to be cooked. And then I made my pesto pasta salad, and for dinner my husband's mum actually made a kind of ramen, but ironically again it had gotten quite warm by that evening. But this is pretty much all I ended up filming because I had most of my meals made for me, which is very nice. When I got home I immediately got back on the plant-based yogurt and fruit hype with a little bit of hemp seed on top. Usually I'd like to have something like walnuts chopped up, but I didn't have any, so I just used what I already had. Okay, I'm finally gonna try and make some banana ice cream. I'm gonna start with, I think, 3 bananas because they're a good size. Even though I have a high-speed blender, it definitely still freaks me out a little bit when you have to put it up so high. And I did have to use the stick thing to really try to get the bananas to blend easily, but they never did. It was pretty hard to get this consistency. But with a little bit of patience, it finally came out, and I was very pleased with the consistency of this, and it tasted really good. Definitely creamier than a sorbet, but definitely lighter than an ice cream. I'm gonna make a salad that my husband's mum actually made for us when I was just in Michigan. I've been sick for a few days, hence why I haven't really filmed much of being in Michigan, but now that I'm back, it is even hotter here. I think it was like 37 degrees today. I only have edamame in pods, so I'm going to depod those, and then because I'm still not feeling very well, I'm gonna make this as easy as possible. I have a bunch of vegetables that I'm just gonna throw in the food processor, and I'm just gonna pulse them until they become little chunks, and then we're gonna drench it in a really delicious peanut buttery dressing. There are a couple of things I don't have for this recipe, but I'm trying to get out of the mindset of, oh, I can't make a recipe because I don't have every single ingredient, and instead making most of what I can with what I have. These will take me a long time, so I'm gonna put something on to watch or listen to while I get these done, and probably snack on quite a few along the way. Of course that would happen. These videos always make me realize how many of the same recipes I make over and over again. And I think that's why I've been able to stick to a pretty good budget when it comes to groceries, because I do tend to have the same ingredients for sauces or vinaigrettes, marinades, things like that. I had all the ingredients for the peanut sauce for those summer rolls at the beginning, and then I basically use a very, very similar sauce for this salad at the end. I do try to branch out, especially for these videos, but I've realized that when I don't want to cook, simple meals tend to always win. I just want to throw together a bunch of ingredients that go together nicely, a nice sauce, something vegetable or fruit. I also ate so many peaches this week, but I don't know why I didn't film them. But things like that are always so refreshing. But I do want to get into making a few kind of fun mocktails as a summer cooling drink too. I was going to make a chickpea salad for dinner, but I just could not be bothered. So I'm just having another bowl of what I had earlier. But I did want to make a chickpea pasta salad with some of the red lentil pasta that I still had. Because making the pasta, that's like 10 minutes on the stove, although it just got too hot in the house today that even that felt like too much. I'm really surprised at how good that banana ice cream was. I think I might try to make my own like homemade magnums with some bananas and then maybe even a little bit of some plant-based yogurt or something and a little vanilla. Freeze them and then dip them in chocolate and some almonds and then freeze them again. I think that would be a perfect hot weather snack, or treat rather. So these are some things that I have just been eating while it's been far too hot to cook. I definitely have a few more things on my list that I'll probably be making over the next maybe even 2 months because it's going to be so hot here for a while. But I do have a few more videos coming up of things that I tried. Like I have a I tried hiking every day video. I have a I tried film photography. This one did actually take a little swim when I was just in Michigan, so hoping that this is actually okay, but I'm remaining very optimistic. If you like this video, you might like my high protein for a week video or my high fiber for a week video. I'll make sure that they are linked in the description box below if you are interested. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.